Do you like games with more freedom than common sense? Games where the economy is player-driven, and so are the war crimes. Where the real endgame is telling new players, yeah, there is dual wielding in this game. Just max every combat ability. Trust me, bro. Do you like games with a small but loyal player base? What about a game where, no matter how prepared your group is, your collective IQ drops by half the instant PvP starts? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, what the fuck? We have arrived at episode 7, the finale episode for season 1. And don't worry, it won't be too long before season 2 starts. I really like this episode a lot because after the high intense moments of episodes 5 and 6 as the series has been building, this episode kind of reminds us that we're playing an MMORPG and this is a long-term time investment. And this is the kind of game where sometimes you have downtime. And what do you do in that downtime? Do you get into a little bit of crafting? You do a little bit of gathering? Are you being social? Are you dueling in town? What is it that you do in between those big epic moments? And I think this episode captures that really well. I think this is going to be a nice, smooth send-off to the end of the season. Now, is that a clever way of saying that this episode does not have as much excitement as the last two? What are you, a fucking cop? Why asking so many questions? I want to thank every single person who has subscribed for their support. Guys, if you're not already subscribed, please make sure to hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, drop a like, and don't forget to follow on Twitch. I will be doing many more live streams during Season 2. Without further ado, let's get started with the final episode of Season 1, Mortal Online 2, Zero to Hero, Episode 7. All we have left is build a house and learn a profession. Before we get started, I just want to say I do apologize for how long this episode took to come out. I was sick for a few days, and then also I grossly underestimated how much time it took to master even a single craft in this game. I don't plan on doing it many more times. Maybe we'll do one more in Season 2 now that I'm prepared for it. But anyways, this episode's got a lot going on. We're going to start with talking about gathering so we can get materials for a house. Then we're going to put a pin in the house. We're going to go over to professions, which was a convoluted, esoteric web of depth that I underestimated greatly. And that's a fun one. We have to grind at one part for a little bit of money, so we end up hopping into mastery. So we'll be doing an introduction to mastery in this episode. Then we will be building our house. If you want to stop and take a guess in the comments where the house might be, I could tell you it's a place you've seen many times in this series. I think it's a cool idea for the house spot. And then as promised, in just a second, we're going to reveal what the secret's been that I've been hinting at. That special thing that I hinted at the end of episode 6 is now here. Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online and Mortal Online 2, as well as the CEO of Star Vault Games, gave us an interview. Their team is very, very hard at work on the next patch, on the new continent that's next in the roadmap, and many other things, as he will hint towards in this interview. But because of the amount of time they're putting into that, I was not able to sit down with him for a video call interview. However, what he did do is he allowed me to send him my list of questions, and he took his time and put together very thoughtful and in-depth answers that I'm really excited to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's jump into the first question in our interview with the creator of Mortal Online 2. What first got you into the game development industry, and how did that path eventually lead to founding Star Vault Games? Henrik answered, the first step into computers and games was probably when I was a kid. One Christmas day at my grandma's place when my cousins showed me their computer and some of their coding skills. Years later, I got my very own Commodore 64 and I was hooked. After several years, I eventually played Diablo 1 and then got introduced to a team making this new first-of-its-kind MMORPG called Ultima Online, which I was lucky enough to test back in 1996. I was hooked even though I could only take one step, then wait 1 second before the next, since the latency from USA to Sweden on a 28.8 modem wasn't exactly great. But wow, how epic the experience was. That showed me what I wanted to do when I got older. I later ended up in Sweden's best game development education, where I started to network. At the end of my studies, I convinced Mats, the founder of the school, and a few other talents to join me on my journey of starting Star Vault to make the best sandbox MMORPG in the world, since nothing had filled that gap since UO's golden era. This was mission impossible. How do you raise millions for development when almost no one even understands what we're doing? I also wanted the best rendering tech in the world, which I found in Epic Games' Unreal Engine. I started talking to them, hoping to become a partner. Just when I was about to give up on both the funding and the engine that only a few studios got to use, I finally hit the right people. That's when I got investors aboard and we could finally take the first step. I put all my own savings from years of work into the company, added some great investors, and eventually listed the company to get the rest of the funding needed to develop one of the most difficult game projects in the world, Mortal Online. We've got 6 more interview questions coming up after this. They're going to be sprinkled throughout the video, so make sure you watch the whole thing until the very end, guys. Welcome to the Season 1 finale of Mortal Online 2: Zero to Hero. Alright, so there's a few things we need if we want to build a house. So the first thing is, obviously, we need the deed for the house. But before we even worry about that, there are materials that you need to put into the house. What we were worried about is under profession skills, gathering. We're going to have to mine some rock. We're going to have to chop some wood. In addition to that, material lore. So we're going to need, for example, petrology, igneous rock, and we're going to use granum. Granum is the easiest to gather. So granum, for example, as we mine granum, we will get granum lore. The more granum lore we have, all the way up to 100, the more we get per swing of rock. So this is the kind of thing that scales as you're leveling it. As your mining and your granum lore go up, you get more and more per swing of your pickaxe. All right, so in the equipment vendor, we have 2 things. We have a steel pickaxe and a steel woodcutting axe. But these do break. They have durability. So you want to make sure you've got a good amount. So since we're going to start with woodcutting, let's just go ahead and get, like, however many that is. There, that's plenty. We will go through all, if not most, of these axes, especially as we're leveling woodcutting and everything like that. Go up to any tree, firmwood, and start cutting. We've learned firmwood lore, which is nice. MK is very special because there is an entire back area. I'll go ahead and show it to you now, even though we're not mining yet. Out back this way, where like the rice fields are, where you could pick rice and stuff. And if you are mining on the rock wall here, all of it's granum. If you are on that back wall, it technically is outside of the city limits. And right there, within a 10-second ride of guards, if anything were to happen, you are getting full yield granum. One more pro tip from the kid. Get bags. Get horse bags. So let's go back to the broker and grab horse bags. And as we fill up our inventory with wood and stuff like that, we're going to transfer it into the horse's bags so we don't get bogged down. All right, so I've got my horse here in the corner with the bags. We've got all these trees. It's time to get chopping. All right, and it took a little bit longer than I expected. And we're only halfway there. But we are about to hit 50,000 firmwood. I think it's only 4.5 stacks, but I figured I'd just go to 5. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks and 18. I'll just get rid of the 18 there. So there are our 5 stacks of wood, and we are going to get 5 stacks of stone next. Mining goes much, much faster. So we might even get 6 stacks just for good measure, but... Alright, so it's pretty crazy how much faster stone is than wood, just because of how much more you get per swing. But I was not paying attention and forgot to be recording when I finished. So I have 6 stacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.9 basically, plus a couple thousand extra. So yeah, we've got 6 stacks of stone. So let's head over to the bank and drop those in. Now that we have all the materials to build a house, we're going to put a quick pin in building the house. The reason for that is because building a house is quite a time-consuming process. And it's best to have multiple people there to build the house, so we're going to coordinate with some of the boys later tonight. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to shift gears and focus on the other objective for today, which is learning a profession. But before we do that, it's time for question number 2 in our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2. Question 2 was, which games had the biggest influence on you when creating the Mortal Online series? Clearly, Ultima Online is a large inspiration. Were there other games as well? What about those games impacted your design of Mortal Online 1 and 2? Henrik answered, as I said, UO was the specific type of game and genre I fell in love with. Even though I am a wide gamer, I really enjoyed Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo, Command & Conquer, Generals, all true golden gems. I also played a lot of first-person shooters, starting with Doom, of course, then Quake, and of course Counter-Strike. Later on, Dota was super fun, but very few games hooked me as deeply as Diablo and UO. Only a few MMOs caught my interest after that, such as Anarchy Online and Star Wars Galaxies. By the way, side note, Henrik, Star Wars Galaxies is my second favorite MMO of all time, so I feel you there, buddy. He then continued, later on, WoW opened up a new generation and more mainstream audience for MMOs, but they took a very different direction. Personally, I wasn't as excited since it felt more like a restricted quest-based single-player experience. While I fully understand why it became one of the greatest MMO successes in the world, I noticed there was a big demand for something different, something closer to UO. We got 5 more questions coming at you throughout the video, guys. Stay tuned for the rest. Now, I think the easiest profession for me and the most beneficial for me is one of two. We're eventually going to learn multiple, but one of two, armors or weapons. Now, weapons are pretty simple. I'm editing this right now, and that statement, weapons are pretty simple, is fucking hilarious to me in hindsight. And you're going to find out exactly why. And, you know, steel great blades are very expensive, so I would love to stop buying them and just craft them instead. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to level weapon crafting. We got a lot to go, but basically we are going to be going under weapon crafting, and we're going to be getting two-handed blade hilt crafting. And then under blade crafting, we are going to be getting advanced blade crafting, great blade crafting. Another thought that just crossed my mind is I'm going to have to spend a good chunk of this money to get the profession up. So we're going to use this money first to do professions. And then when we circle back to the house part, I'm probably going to have to do some tasks and some dailies in order to get the money back for a house. Here's the interesting thing. Doing so is going to get us started on mastery. So in today's season 1 finale, we are actually also going to get a start on mastery. So a lot going on in this episode. We're getting ready to build a house. We're going to be mastering a profession, which is going to be great blade crafting today. We're going to get started on mastery. We'll do a breakdown on the trees and how you unlock the different nodes in mastery, because that's expensive in itself. All right, and this is the part of the video that took the longest, and why I said the statement, weapons are pretty simple, is hilarious to me in hindsight. Originally, when I was editing down, heavily editing down this section, it still ended up over 20 minutes long. So instead, we're going to do a very condensed version, and I'm going to cut to the regular like source footage for funny moments and bits and bobs and stuff like that. But here's a breakdown of everything that we had to do. So first off, we had to get some books. You can go to the librarian in Morin Kerr. You can get whatever books you need. Some skills can be learned through action just by crafting with the material. Some can't. Next, just to note, in MK, both of the crafting houses are across from each of the banks on both slum side and rich side. So we headed to the table and we decided to get started. Now, when you're crafting, there's two halves to the crafting. There is the recipe, I like to call it, which is like the blade crafting, the hilt crafting, those levels from 0 to 100. There's also the material lore, because remember, the better your lore is on a material when you use it in a craft, the more of the stats and benefits you get from that material. So having 20 steel, 20 malarium versus 100 steel, 100 malarium, the quality of those swords is going to be vastly different. So there's the recipe side, and then the lore side. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take the cheapest, shittiest material that you have, and you want to just spam craft the craft itself. So I used bone tissue and full grain leather, just because they're cheap and they're easy to get, and I was just spam crafting swords, right? That was just to get the recipes up. So I started with one-handed swords. And then once we had the required recipe levels, we popped the book for advanced crafting of blades. And this is where the first of a couple of hiccups showed up. Let's check in with the regular footage here. And now, if we go to swords two-handed, and we pick a crossguard. I lied! Shit. Is it a one-handed thing? I actually fucking have no clue. And this is where the complications began. I realized very quickly that there are a lot of skills that require other skills that you need, but you can't get them because those skills require the skills that you already have, and it's just a nightmare. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. So this is me finally realizing exactly what I needed to do to get the one skill that I wanted. Axe head crafting, which we can use to power level. This is such a convoluted web. We can get axe head crafting to power level one-handed shaft crafting, which we can then use to get into two-handed shaft crafting, which we can then use with the pole blade head crafting to power level advanced blade crafting, to then get great blade crafting, to then power level that. What the fuck? Okay. So that's exactly what we did. First, we got axes and one-handed shafts, which then got us to two-handed shafts, which then got us to pole sword heads, which then leveled advanced blade crafting and allowed us to get to great blades. At this point, all that was left was to spam craft the great blades to get our recipe half of the profession done, and that is the two-handed blade hilts and the great blade head crafting. Now that that was done, it actually cost a lot more money to do than I expected, and this is kind of where earlier I mentioned we're going to get into mastery a little bit. That's because I ran out of money. So now that we had finished the recipe side, we needed to do the lores. So that means we needed steel lore and malarium lore, because we were going to be making malarium curite hilt steel great blades. Now, the malarium I was not worried about. It was the steel that I was worried about. The only way to get to steel is another convoluted web. I will let my past self in the moment explain yet again. So with all the grain steel that I get, that guy fell off his horse. With all the grain steel that I get, I can then level the grain steel lore, which levels the iron-based alloys, which lets me pop the steel lore book, which lets me use steel. That is what we're doing. It's time for question number 3 in our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2. Question 3 was, the Mortal Online series is well known for its hardcore sandbox systems. What is your philosophy when you balance staying true to that vision while still making the game approachable to new players? Henrik answered, for any UO player, it is clear where we are coming from. UO was very different compared to the newer WoW-style theme park MMOs, and that made it quite hardcore. Full loot and open PvP are two of the big things many casual players think are too rough. For me, and for most old UO players, it was the opposite. That experience was pure, adrenaline-filled, and unique every single session because of the player interactions. With WoW, that part disappeared and the new generation got used to a protected, safe experience focusing on their own journey rather than interacting with other players. The challenge for us is to stay true to the sandbox rules while trying to attract new players, which often means more casual players. We work to make the overall experience easier to get into, while at the same time having proper penalties for those who endlessly kill random players, and we promote meaningful PvP. 4 more questions coming at you guys. Stay tuned for the rest of the video. Now, lucky for us, pro tip for you Mortal Online 2 gamers out there, the amount of hours the book says it's going to take is just a fucking lie. It doesn't take nearly that long because I took a quick break. I ended up going to bed, got up the next morning, and the book was nearly done, even though supposedly it was going to take like 3 days. So that being said, we were able to skirt right past the whole Rysar farm for the grain steel and start popping our iron-based alloys book on our way to the steel lore book. Now, while we waited for the iron-based alloys, we did farm some Rysars, and that's where mastery comes into play. So we already started and put a pin in the house. We started and put a pin in professions. Let's go ahead, talk about mastery, and then we will double back and wrap everything up in a pretty little bow for season 1. And we are now mastery level 1. So we have broken through from clade to mastery. So here's the fun part about mastery. You have all these trees all the way up to mastery level 110, and they all do different things. They all stem from a certain, attribute. So strength here, for example, we get this and we get 1 extra strength, and then we can go into like melee damage bonus and get blunt damage or slash damage or pierce damage or whatever. You can get damage to certain types of pets. You can get free carry weight and armor weight and stuff like that. The kicker is the beginning of each tree, the shiny, the really bright stars that are at the beginning of each tree cost a potion of aptitude in order to unlock that tree. A potion of aptitude is 500 gold. So each tree you unlock is 500 gold. I don't have 500 gold. I don't even have enough money for a fucking house right now. So, which we have to do in this video. So that's not going to happen yet. But basically what's going to happen is even though I can't use my mastery points right now, I will continue to level and gain mastery levels and mastery points. So when we are ready to start unlocking trees, we'll be able to just use them all in mass. With a bit more of an introduction to mastery out of the way, yikes, it's expensive. Trust me, I know. Season 2 coming soon. We were ready to pop the steel book and start using steel in our crafts. Now, I want to make something clear. When I started this, I was in a time crunch. I had steel from a trade with my ex-guild leader, Facilier, and I traded him a bunch of grain steel and a bunch of other stuff for 7,500 steel. Now, I made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. Do not do what I did, okay? If you are going to craft steel, read the book to 70 first, and then do what I'm about to do. It was a very dumb idea. In simple terms, if you want to power level a material lore that's going to go into weapons, the cheapest way to do it with the least waste of materials is to use that as the core in the hilt of a bent dagger. The bent dagger hilt uses the single least amount of materials out of the core from any other weapon craft that I know of. So essentially what you would do is if you want to power level Malarium, you make Malarium core hilts on bent daggers and spam the shit out of it. You would do the same for steel. However, 7,500 steel is not enough to get from 0 to 100, and I ended up cutting it off because I didn't want to waste all the steel around the 30s, 35 or something like that. You'll see it in the video. Now, luckily for me, since I still power leveled Malarium all the way, I was able to make a decent blade, but, you know, I didn't get all the way to 100 steel, and that is because I didn't read the book all the way. Rest assured, the book is reading right now as I'm editing this. We are going to put Malarium in the core, full grain in the grip, and steel as the head. Here we go. Bang. How bad is this sword? Ready? Let's see. But before we see how that weapon turned out, sorry for debating you. Question 4 in our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2. Question 4 was, how do you handle the priorities between what players want now and the long-term vision when they don't always align? How do you see the relationship between Star Vault and the player base, and has feedback ever dramatically changed your plans? Henrik answered, this one is tough. When you ask the player base, they usually want everything now. That shows us we have true sandbox players because the game really has something for everyone. It is not just a PvP game, so it is important that we make sure it offers a lot for all playstyles, not only killing styles. If we're only about that, it would hurt the game in the long run. The killer style players are often the loudest in the community, while the steady role player may be silently enjoying the game or being pushed off due to harsh gameplay or lack of non-PvP content. Some features are more popular than others, so we have used voting polls to see what the community wants first. Sometimes this works well, sometimes not. We tried to cover the top 20 most wanted features as a main focus, and some were a success while others not as much. It is often difficult as a player to fully see what the gaming community needs in order to grow. It is easy to get blind and only see personal opinions while ignoring what is best for the long-term health of the game. We've experimented a lot here, for good and bad, and learned many lessons. For us, it is important that we guide this balance and make sure we also push what the game truly needs. 3 more questions coming up before the end of the video. Stay tuned. It's good quality. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. The weight's correct, 192. 89 durability is fucking god-awful, but 23.7... That's actually not that bad. Holy shit. I thought it was going to be way worse. That's a fucking usable Curite Steel Graveblade right there. Is it going to be a PvP banger sword? No, but this is a fantastic PvE weapon. Nice. All right, fuck it. Mark it off. We're done. We learned a profession. Moving on. And you know what we're going to do? Let's see who the real Nope fans are. Look at this puppy. Here are the real Nope fans. The first person after this video comes out to come up to me in-game and say the key phrase, potatoes, in VoIP to me, will be the proud owner of Nope's first Steel Grapeblade with Curite Hilt. And if you use it in battle, I'll be very disappointed with you, okay? This is a national treasure of an item right here. 1 of 1, okay? Now that profession was done, it was time to build the house. We assembled the boys, double-checked our materials, and started to pack our horses to move out. 3, 4, 5.5 stacks of stone in the horse bags, and then Helicore, come here. And I'm gonna give you... Wait, hang on. I accidentally sent a friend request to you. I don't want to be your friend. There's 5 stacks of wood. Throw those on your horse, and then let's roll out. And roll out we did, but not before question 5 in our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2. Question 5 was, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in all your years of building an MMO that most developers, even AAA ones, still don't understand? Henrik answered, we have an obvious challenge in Starvault. We're the world's smallest indie MMO studio, making the largest and most advanced MMO ever. On top of that, we push for high-fidelity visuals and animations, a large, open, seamless world without instances or loading, and our own node mesh network system to support thousands of players across the globe. It is quite insane how far we have gone. But of course, there are also huge challenges. No other giant has managed to do this, which puts us in an exciting position, but not without issues. It's easy to compare us to AAA companies with unlimited budgets, but naturally our quality in some areas will show the difference. It's impossible to fully master every part of this genre because it's so complex and keeps changing over time. The audience today is completely different from the UO era in the 90s, and it will keep changing. I think you need a mix of things to succeed. Some luck, a very talented dev team, good and exciting gameplay, and good timing so that certain features are well received. If I had to do this journey again, of course there are things I would do differently, but every studio learns in their own way depending on the game type, the project size, and the budget. We have found what works for us and focus on what we believe is the right direction. We also try to read our community of all playstyles as closely as possible and be very open and transparent with our steps, focus, and goals. 2 more questions before the end of the video. Stay tuned, you guys.
I woke up underwater.
Jay, shut up. I'm trying to record. No, it's fine. I mean, it's going in the video now, though.
People are like, what is he singing?
All right, so we're going to build it up around the corner where Wise had his house way back in the day. This is the first house he built after the Jungle Wars, actually, after the River Wars. Hang on. There it is. I think that'll work. So the stairs are right here. You go into the house. And then you've got the whole valley right here.
I'm back.
This is perfect, I think. Beautiful.
Oh, I like that.
Blam.
Yeah, that's a good placement.
Blam.
All right, I'm going to drop all the metal in really quick. That was not enough metal, apparently. We're very slightly short.
Alright, how short are we?
Less than 1,000.
Do you need to bring metal from MK?
If you don't mind. The house was placed. The final goal of Season 1 was about to be complete. All we had to do was smack the building just for a little while. I think it ended up taking about an hour. It's always a fun time to hang out with the boys and just AFK build a house and chit chat. So I'm going to put in some clips of us just goofing off while we were doing it, and then I'll cut to when the house was done. And this ridge line here, this is all Nopeland, and all must pay the king's tax of 10% of all Ryzar gains.
Yeah,
Who is this? Who is
25,
this?
dude.
This is a rider. Be ready to fight, just in case.
Where?
Oh, it's Zeppo. Yay!
There he is.
Papa Facilier.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Wonder why he's not in Discord.
Get to work, soldier!
He's probably
Yes,
got
sir. Sir,
kitty
sir.
things to do.
I've been working on the railroad.
I mean,
Oh, live long day. Where's Algin
Always
at?
got back.
Where's that scrappy little guy?
All right, we are very nearly there to the 3 million house health. It's been about an hour, so it's not bad. Here, Zeppo and Rochelle both have engineering, which makes it so effectively they are like 7 people smacking the house at one each. So it's like 14 dudes smacking the house between the 2 of them. And then Algin and I are just single contributors, but it's going pretty damn quick. Where are we at now? We are almost there. So let's go ahead and keep smacking to wrap up. But before we wrap up the house, it is time for question 6, the second to last question. And make sure you stay tuned for the very last question because it's my favorite. And I think his answer is really, really great. But question 6 in our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2 was, what's your dream piece of content that you personally want to add no matter what, even if it's years away? Henrik answered, almost every year since 2005 there have been holdbacks. The engine didn't support it, the tech didn't allow it, or the feature was simply too difficult and complex. There were always restrictions, but every few years some of those limitations disappear. I have a lot of old game designs for MO that we had to sacrifice early on because it just wasn't possible with the tech at that time. This list of restrictions keeps getting smaller. Today we are on world-leading tech with UE5, which is slowly maturing. Even though it has issues, it allows us to take new steps that UE4 didn't. We hope Epic continues to polish and optimize for games specifically, since performance and FPS are critical for players. MO2 is a next-gen MMO and does require modern hardware to run great, but we want to support large-scale battles in high fidelity, and that requires the engine to run well on a wide range of hardware. We have been focusing heavily on this since moving to UE5, with a lot of challenges. Now we are entering a new era, which is incredibly exciting because AI is becoming so powerful that it opens completely new doors for Star Vault and Mortal Online. We will start showing some of this very soon. The last question's coming at the end of the video, guys. Don't miss it. And there it is. We did it. Max health. Let's go to settings and rename the house. I declare this house Mount Nope. All right, let's all get out front of the house.
Hold on, I'm smoking a cigarette.
This fucking guy.
Cigaretting.
He's cigaretting.
What do you mean?
Uh-huh.
ready whenever you are. Just
All
tell
right.
me when to hit it.
3, 2, 1, hit it. Yeah, dude, nice. All right, cool. Thank you guys for the help.
Yep.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right, and here it is, our new beginnings of home ownership. Look at the view out the window. Just look at it. So, this is officially dubbed Mount Nope. And as I jokingly said in the previous clip, I am calling my sovereign city-state here Nopeland. And it starts, my borders are from the edge of that stronghold in through here, all the way down to the entrance to the GK Valley there, comes around to this mountain ridge here, and does include the Rizar camp that is just west over this hill. That is Nopeland. All right, so make sure if you're farming in Nopeland, you pay your tax to the king. Come pay me a visit in Mount Nope, and give me some Rizar heads, give me some ears, okay? It would be a shame if something were to happen to you, getting caught in Nopeland. Oh, it's such a stupid joke. All right, guys, we've built the house. It's just a tier 1. We will definitely make it larger, that's for sure. We will upgrade it to a max tier house at some point, probably down in season 2. All right. Oh, look at that. Somebody's passing through the sovereign city-state of Nopeland as we speak. All right. With that, let's continue. And before we close, we are going to take a look at the final question of our interview with Henrik, the creator of Mortal Online 2. But before we do, I just want to say, again, a very, very special thank you to not only Henrik for the interview and taking the time to type out these very thoughtful answers, but to all of you watching, to everyone who subbed, commented, liked. I mean, it's crazy to see the reach that this series on this niche MMO is actually garnering, and I really appreciate the support. I see you guys in game. I appreciate the messages you send me saying, I tried the game because I saw your video. Share the game and share the video with your friends, guys. Let's really bring Mortal Online 2 to the forefront of the MMO market. I know this episode wasn't jam-packed full of PvP and excitement and stuff like that, but I had a lot of fun making it anyway. And without further ado, here's question 7. Question 7 was, if you could leave one message to the Mortal Online community, from the veterans who've been here since the start, to the new players just stepping into Nave, and even to those still on the fence about buying the game, what would you want them to know about the journey ahead and the future of MO2 and Star Vault games? Henrik's answer was long, so I'm going to split it into 2 screenshots here. But Henrik answered, try to get a picture of what kind of game you're looking for. Most MMOs are a long-term commitment, so it's good to know what MO2 is before starting. If you expect a WoW-type MMO, you will get many surprises. If you want something more demanding than theme parks, a proper sandbox where you are challenged every session in different ways, with full freedom and control over your outcome, with plenty of deaths, but also great excitement and rewards, then MO2 might be your home. There are some horror stories out there about the game, and plenty of crazy Steam reviews that may scare people away. but again and again we hear from players who say they had only heard bad things but gave it a try, and now they're having a blast. They say it feels fresh, new, and different from all other MMOs. UO vets obviously feel right at home and are happy to find it. Many wonder why they never heard about MO2 before and wish they had found it earlier. It will not be for everyone, but it may be everything for some. We see long-term commitment from players who find their home in MO2, making friends and even family in the game. Our veterans know what it is all about, the good and the ugly, and we are thankful for all the support we have received over the years. We are doing our best to create an epic road ahead with gameplay and new content for every style, non-PvPers to PvPers, role players, explorers, crafters. The game grows when you start interacting with others in your own way, since player interaction is at the core of our design. We are extremely excited to present the new era of Mortal Online in a very different way compared to before. We try to be on the frontier of the latest tech, and now with AI doing revolutionary steps, we will be using it in brand new ways. We're also partnering with world-leading hardware providers such as NVIDIA, and this will be part of our upcoming roadmaps. We are excited to show more of this soon. And here we are, guys, at the end of our journey through Season 1. Now, like I said in the intro, don't worry, Season 2 will begin production very, very soon, and I promise there will not be long delays like there was for this episode. I hope even with the lack of high intensity and high excitement in this episode, you guys were able to relax and enjoy it, and I really hope you enjoyed Henrik's answers during our first interview. Just to recap everything we did this season, we hit Clade level 20, we killed every sewer boss, we obtained starter trinkets, we built a house, we completed a bounty, we participated in an outpost siege, we obtained a cape, and we learnt a profession. Now, I have not finalized the Season 2 goals yet. You'll see those in Season 2, Episode 1. But, guys, I'm surprised we made it. I'm surprised we got this far, and I am so happy with the support that I've seen. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've made it to the end of the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the series with a friend. In exactly 1 week from today, you will see the Season 1 mega episode. It will be all the episodes back to back in one giant long video. And we're going to be doing some promotion on that. I will see you guys very, very soon in Mortal Online 2 Zero to Hero Season 2. This guy pick it all up? How many people are playing this fucking game right now, by the way? Don't be a mage on a Thursar. That's stupid. People are troglodytes and cannot cope with not being handheld. I'm just going to level with you for a second. I'm about to yap for 5+ minutes. I'm gonna get lightning to death. Oh, this game's terrible. You committed suicide. Based. Okay, so.
I'm with Barbus. He's dead.
He said, I'm with Barbus, whatever the fuck that means.
I'm telling you, once you get here, you're not going to be happy that you saw it.
Oh, no. Oh, the cave, dude. Yes. Oh, praise Jesus. Praise him.
What hammer is that?
Steel, baby.
Oh, no.
Run like a you fucking you're
Deuce.
Oh, you're the YouTube guy.
I am the YouTube guy. What's up, man?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good fight, man. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.